Hey everybody, this is Timothy Gay back here with another review, and today we're looking at Thanos Rising. This is based on the new Avengers Infinity War movie that's coming out, but from USAopoly and designer Andrew Wolf. And what this is a cooperative dice game. It comes with lots of cool dice, a whole lot of components, cards, and this awesome miniature of Thanos. So this basically is the story going through the movie, upcoming movie, where everyone's got together to battle Thanos. And so it really kind of reflects that. So how does this game work? Well, every player is going to choose one of these location cards, which tells them what team they start with, and basically what your team leader that you start with, also your starting dice pool, and then one unique ability that you'll have that no one else will have. And like I said, this is a cooperative game, so you're not trying to one-up each other or anything like that. But so, for example, if you chose the Avengers compound, you'd start the game with this Captain America card as your one hero. And what you're doing in this game is you are essentially trying to stop Thanos from destroying everyone, and getting his Infinity Stones, and you are collecting heroes to join your team and work by your side. And it's a whole ton of different unique heroes. There's a whole deck of cards, and then you're also fighting villains. So the way you win is by killing 7 of these villains, and that's on the easy mode. You could play harder and have to kill 10. And then along the way, you're collecting these heroes to make yourself better. Like I said, you could start with Captain America. Another leader would be Gamora. Another leader would be Doctor Strange. And another leader would be Black Panther. So this is a 2 to 4 player game. You could solo it as well, which I have done. So let's just say for our example game, we're going to actually solo. And I'm going to choose Avengers Compound, because Captain America is the greatest. So we start with Captain America here. It shows us that we start with 4 red dice. There's a whole bunch of different dice that have completely different sides to them. And it shows you in the rule book kind of the spread of the specialty of each dice. So like the green specializes in the triangle looking eyeball things, and the space for black, for like Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever. And then we had a debate if that was like a Spider-Man spiderweb. I say it is. I don't know. I'm a Spider-Man fan, so it is in my game. So for Captain America, we're going to start with 4 red dice, okay? So red kind of caters towards explosions. Now, like I said, we're trying to stop Thanos from killing. There's a few ways to lose. So we try to stop him from killing 10 heroes, either out here or ones that we've acquired. Combined 10 between all the players. So 10's not a lot. If 10 die, it's game over. Now, the other way you can lose is if any single player's entire team is killed, so you have nothing left, they're all dead, everybody would lose. And the third way you can lose is if Thanos ever collects every Infinity Stone and puts them in his glove, and basically he just destroyed the planet. So on the back of these, it tells you like a quick turn order summary, but there's really only 3 parts to a turn. And I'll tell you what they are now. The start of your turn, everybody gets one of these little tokens that goes with their location too. So start of my turn, I would look out here, see what I want to go after, and put my token there saying that I am going to be fighting in this sector. There's 3 sectors, and then a sector would have 3 cards in it. See how it's divided there? So each edge gets a card. Okay? And this is all shuffled up, by the way. The villains are shuffled in with the heroes, and then you just randomly assign them out, no matter how many players are playing. So the first thing you do is that you choose which one you want to go in. So basically which 3 cards you want to try to do something to. Then you take the Thanos turn on your turn. Thanos gets to do stuff. And we have 2 dice for Thanos that you roll together, and they have different sides. And so a couple of the sides are turn right, and then a couple are turn left. So basically what those would do is Thanos would turn whichever direction it says, and that would be the sector that Thanos attacks. So let's say Thanos was here. We roll a turn right. He would actually spin the whole figure, and now he's pointing at that sector. So he would do 1 damage to every hero in that sector. Okay? So if any hero ever gets 4, like up to their max damage, like they're different amounts on each one, then that hero would die at the end of your turn if you don't try to save them or heal them or acquire them. If you acquire them, you take them, add them to your team, and all that damage would come off. So they'd get kind of a reboot. Now let's say Thanos did not turn, and maybe he rolled something else for this die. I'm going to get to that other die in just a second. Let's get to it right now, because the other side is a re-roll of this one. So let's say we rolled this at that first roll. We'd look up here, and we'd take one of these little yellow cube things that says yellow. It tells us to put 1 on yellow, okay? There's 1 for every side, 1 color for every side that matches those. And so what happens is, if you ever get 5 on a circle space, you would, at the end of your turn, remove all those, place the Infinity Stone on the glove, which is a nice little indented board here, and you would flip this over. And then for the remainder of the game, this would be flipped over and grants Thanos a new ability. So if you ever rolled yellow again, the stone's already out there, so that threat's over, but a new threat says trigger all the abilities of all villains not in the sector with Thanos. So if I ever rolled a yellow on this die again, it would trigger that ability. And each one of these has different abilities that are worse and worse, and usually cause bad things throughout the game. Now, this side of the die, if you roll this along with that, it makes you re-roll the Infinity Stone die again on this turn, so it starts to stack up. Now, the last side comes into play with the villains. Where are you? There you are, Thanos' glove. If you roll Thanos' glove, it's going to activate every villain on the board that is not in Thanos' sector. So if there were villains over there, like that one, he would activate, which is bad because the villains in his sector are going to activate. So let's just say he's in this sector now. We'd do a damage to each of the heroes, right? And then we look at this villain. It says if Thanos is in this sector, add 1 damage to all purple and green heroes. Well, that would add 1 more damage to each of those guys, right? So that's bad. And on top of that, since we're in that sector with our thing, all our heroes would also take 1 damage. So if we had multiple heroes here, they'd all be taking damage. So what happens is things kind of snowball, and it's crazy. You only roll these 2 dice. How much can happen out here? Because, like I said, this guy would have triggered with this glove. Well, look at this. You pretend like Thanos is in his sector because of the glove, and it says, roll the Infinity Stone die again. So these guys are nuts. But how do we get rid of them? And how do we get these heroes? So we know Thanos is part of our turn. That's phase 1 of the turn. Well, phase 2, we'd take our initial dice. We'd roll them once. And we'd look up here. And we'd say, well, I rolled 2 spider webs, a 2 explosion, and an explosion. Now you have to assign 1 die to one of the cards, okay? And you can only go after 1 card per roll. So this roll, I'm looking here, I'm going to take this 2, and I'll put it on Heimdall. You see this on the card? Those are the die faces it takes to get Heimdall and add them to your team. So if I get these on this turn, let's just see if I do. Now I could go after another card now if I wanted to, but since I've already invested in Heimdall, I'm probably going to want to stick with him. So I would take this planet one. I only need 2 triangle ones. That's really hard to do because every die that's not the green one only has 1 side of the triangle. Let's just say I rolled it. I'm cheating. And nobody can stop me. So I'd take these two. Boom, I rolled them. Yay! Had enough. That was probably a bad idea to go after Heimdall right now because he'd be difficult with the red dice. So I would have acquired Heimdall for the remainder of the game until he dies, of course. If he dies, he counts towards 1 to 10, so that's really bad. But now that he's on my team, I get this ability. Add 1 damage to an undamaged villain. That's really good. Now he has a cost requirement where I'd have to pay 2 triangle dice or a side with a 2 to be able to do that. Okay, so that costs a lot, but it's great because damaging villains is how you win. Now let's go back and just say I didn't go after Heimdall and I went after him and I did roll exactly what I needed to hit him. Now on your turn, you can only damage a villain in a sector 1 time. So I would actually take this and I'd put it on there. Boom, I hit him once. Now, hitting villains is great because you get to go into the token bag and randomly take one of these tokens as a reward for hitting a villain each time you hit a villain, okay? And I would take it, and in this case, I get a free Spider-Man side. I usually like to put them right there. And so at any time on one of my future turns, I can spin this to count as if it were a die that I rolled to get that. And you'd spend it and you'd toss it back in the bag. And there's all sorts of different ones, like this one would let you roll an extra red die if you use it. There's even ones that let you remove counters from Infinity Stones, like those yellow ones we had. So that's really good. There's ones that let you remove damage. There's one for every single face of the die. So those are really good because you're getting rewarded for doing what you need to do to win. So like this villain only has 2 health, so he's halfway to being dead. So once I get 7 of these guys dead, I win the game. Now it's not so easy because, like I showed you how quickly things can snowball in a single turn. It can get out of hand quickly, but there's a lot of different powers that can help you. Like we can just take a look at, so once per turn you may re-roll any dice before assigning dice. That's pretty cool. Get a re-roll. We have healing powers. This is the Royal Talon Fighter. Once per turn, you may remove 1 damage from a hero. So that's what, and that means any hero. You could be the people that you're playing with. It could be the heroes that have not been acquired. Because what happens is they start stacking up damage, and they can die. Okay. You also have heroes that, like Captain America, will grant you an extra die if you have another red hero. And see that red hero? If I had another red hero on my team, I would get to choose to roll extra red or blue die. Those. So that's really good. So this kind of steers you into the direction you want to go. Right now there's not a red hero out there, but you know, if I had acquired Heimdall, he would get replaced with a new card, like War Machine. Pretty cool. So there's tons and tons of heroes, villains. The villains all act differently. You know, we got Nebula. Look, Nebula, if you pay a space face of a die, add 1 damage to Nebula, and then remove a counter from an Infinity Stone. So that's really cool. You could combo her maybe with this Royal Talon so that you could damage her, remove a token, and then heal her also. So there's a lot of synergies between the cards, and as you play more and more, you know, you can find cards that will work better for each team and for what you're going for. You know, as you collect these heroes, sometimes you're just forced to collect a hero because, like I said, if they're full damage at the end of the turn, your turn, they're going to die unless you acquire them or heal them. So if I acquired Wong to prevent him from dying and adding towards the 10. So that's really cool. Like, I don't really want Wong because he's not going to help my team as much as maybe somebody else, but I can't let him die because 10 heroes is not a lot. You're constantly having to help each other do things, and you're at the table, you're talking about, I'm going to go for this area, let me get this one, you go for this one. And like I said, there's just so much variety in these cards. There's no copies in this deck from what I can tell. Like there's maybe, I think a couple of the villains are. There's only 10 in this deck though, so you know, I think actually they're all unique if I'm remembering correctly. So Groot, all your favorites are here too. This was the perfect movie for them to do this, you know. So we got Vision, we got Okoye. I haven't seen Black Panther yet. sadly. I have kids. I don't get to the movie theater. Drax. Now, I'm a big Guardians fan. I mean, it's everybody's here. And they all, like I said, have unique abilities. If you have a blue hero on your team, roll an extra blue die each turn. And they all have different health quantities, too. Let's see if I can find a really cool... Hulk. Yeah. I think Hulk's my favorite because his power's so Hulk. For every 2 damage on Hulk, roll an extra red die. And look how much health he has. It's crazy. He costs a lot of 7 explosion, but he wouldn't be too hard to get because we have the most red. So that's very Hulk thematic. The powers are pretty thematic too. Some of them are just like change the face. If you rolled a explosion, you could change the explosion to any side, that kind of thing. And like I said, the unique player boards add a good twist because you have starting dice pool that's different and a unique ability. Like if you roll 4 triangle or more on your opening roll, draw a bonus token. So that first roll, if I roll 4 triangle, I get to take one of those bonus things. So that's pretty cool. And these are all not just the same. You know, if you roll 4 planets, remove a counter from Infinity Stone. Really good. And the starting dice are different, as you see. If you roll 4 more spiderweb on your turn, remove 2 damage from a hero. Some healing. Really good. So as you go, you know, you got to kill 7 bad guys to win. Don't let 10 die. Don't let any person ever have their entire team wiped out. And don't let them get these Infinity Stones. But good luck because these things all flip over. And as you keep going, you know, damage cannot be removed from heroes this turn. This one almost wrecked me the last time I played. And you couldn't use bonus tokens. So if I rolled a red on that initial thing, I am screwed that turn. And it's cool, like the way the villains interact with the board. Like I said, they're not all cut and dry the same. These little general guys are basically the same, just different colors on them. That's what I was thinking of before. But there's really like some uniqueness. Like this guy's a turd. Sorry about the card mess. Cull Obsidian. If Thanos is in this sector, all players must add 1 damage to 2 heroes on their team. So this guy like goes straight for your jugular. And they all like different. There's ones that are like this villain will trigger and he attacks the ones in the other sector and stuff like that. And remember, if you roll this one, pretty much every villain on the board is going to activate. So it's bad. It's bad. Now the game is not bad. The game is fantastic. I love this game. It's overproduced, I say, which is great. I love overproduction in games. Everything. The art, I love that they went with the movie stills instead of like new art. It's just cooler to me. I know what these characters are and what they look like in the movies, so I like seeing them the way they are in the movies. It plays quick, plays about an hour. So I guess it's kind of quick. An hour's not bad to play some dice rolling. The dice mechanic is really cool in that it's very simple, but you can get all these stacked up heroes on your tableau and make it all kinds of combo-rific craziness that you get to use to fight back against this guy, which is just a huge hulking miniature that's not necessary at all. It could have been like a little cardboard fist that turned or something, but this makes it so much cooler. Awesome. Look at that. Yeah. You know what? I don't mean to say that I have to have overproduced games, but this actually makes me enjoy the game more. It brings me into the game. When this guy's turning around, he looks intimidating. And you're like, please don't turn to my spot because I will get wrecked. I like that there's a lot of mitigation for the luck. If you hate dice games that are all just cut and dry luck, there is luck in this game. You can't deny it. But there's a lot of ways you can go after cards that'll help your team be able to manipulate and roll more and more dice on your turn. And then you also have these bonus tokens that you can use at any time. So if you get some bad rolls, you got some bonus tokens, you got some abilities that can help you manipulate those dice to your benefit. Now, at the end of the day, you're still rolling dice. You got to like rolling dice to like this game. You don't necessarily have to be I'm not a big cooperative game fan, but I really like this one because it was just so, the way that your team is your team and no one else, is your team. You can help each other make decisions. The quarterbacking can possibly come in, I suppose. The way my group plays, we don't really do that. We like to let people choose on their own. So, the dice rolls are your own. And that's something that I think helps with that. I know a lot of people have problems with quarterbacking in cooperative games. It could be in this game, just a fair warning, but I don't think it's that bad. So, Thanos Rising gets a huge, huge thumbs up. I hope they make a expansion or a completely other sequel game for the Part 2 Infinity Wars. Andrew Wolf, please make more of this because I love it. I'm obsessed with this game right now. Very, very fun. Definitely check it out. It's like between $35, $45, 2 to 4 players, plays an hour. Anybody can play this. It's very simple. Go get it. I love this game. Have fun. Bye.